Welcome back to another recap. Today is Tuesday, May 6th. Yesterday was Cinco de Mayo. I have not made a video since last Wednesday. That was April 30. So we're going to cover Thursday, that's May 1st, then Friday, Monday, and then today. So last week we were talking about some overhead resistance that the SPY had to get above, namely this 50-period moving average. So on Thursday, they gapped above, and that provided a good place for them to launch from. And then they're running into some more overhead resistance. Like, for example, if you look at the 3-hour chart, 180-minute, they were under the 200-period moving average on this chart, and that pushed them down a little bit. So as you will see in the game plan, at least for this morning, I mentioned that the longer they hang under this area, it could be them kind of building energy to go higher. And at some point tomorrow, since tomorrow is the FOMC announcement at 2 p.m. Eastern, they're probably going to find themselves at some place where they need to make a decision. Currently in the post market today, they've jumped up a little bit. We could probably look at that shortly, but this is the chart as it stands today as of Tuesday, May 6th. So here are the levels that were sent out on Thursday, May 1st. The only level that was hit was this 561.52. And we'll look at the chart in a minute, of course, and you can read through the notes to get a feel for what we were looking at going into the day on Thursday. Between the vertical dashed lines is Thursday last week. There was a trend line down here. It's off the board now. Price never got to it on this day. But here's the one level, 561.52. If you adjusted this level, brought it down 5 cents as they were coming up to it here. This is after 9:45. It's, 9:52, 9:53 in the morning. They came up within like 11 cents or so, 11 or 12 cents. So not quite a near miss per my rules. They pulled away quite a bit. So that should have told you something there, that maybe going short there might not work the next time, or at least go a little bit higher. But if we're just treating this as a process, you're applying that 5-cent buffer, you're going short at 561.47, I guess. They didn't come down far enough to give you a base hit of 4 points, just barely right here. So when they pulled back up quickly to your entry point, that was a wash. You would have jumped out per the rules. So no trade there, just a wash. And then expecting them to bounce on the other side and go higher. This would be the recycle trade on the long side right here. Clearly, that did not work out very well. So if you had taken a long trade here around 561.52 or 57 or so, you would have incurred an 18-point fumble as they fell. Given it some time, you have got a clue to reverse, and reversing it would have given you a base hit at least as they continue to fall. Those were the only trades on Thursday. There's not really a whole lot to see for the recording on Thursday, May 1st. I was pretty confident that this level here at 561.52 would provide overhead resistance. So I had a limit order here to go short with 6 contracts. They missed it just by a tick or so, pulled back quite a bit. So to me, that was the trade. I wasn't really willing to do it again or try again for a short trade. So I'd let it go and kept an eye on things and let this recording go for a while. But ultimately, I stopped the recording when I was done for the day. So no trades for me on Thursday. That was it, 1 o'clock, I was done. And for Friday, May the 2nd, here is a record of the levels that were sent out in the game plan. Once again, you can read through it. There were 2 levels that were hit, 562.55 and 564.68. Both produced base hits. We'll look at that in a minute. So once again, read through the game plan to get your bearings of where we were Friday morning before the opening bell. So this is Friday's activity between the vertical lines. And it's pretty easy to see what happened. So after giving the market 15 minutes to settle in, there were some indications that this was going to provide some resistance, some overhead resistance. And after 15 minutes, they were pretty much right at this level. So really, the plan would have been to go short early on based on what we knew going into the morning. If you noticed what we said in the game plan, because of the overhead resistance that was likely to play out soon after the opening bell. And I did that. I have a recording, and I pretty much went short right at the opening bell and wrote this down quite a bit of points. But that's one base hit at 564.68. Pretty clear to see that 562.56 was another trade, a long trade, as they bounce from there. We've already gone short at 564. We're not going to go short again. And I'm not going to count the recycle here because they came up close over here. There was enough time by the time they got back to it over here, but the low here at 10:54 a.m. Eastern was 564.75. So even if you applied the buffer of 5 cents to bring this price up, to bring the level up toward price, it wasn't enough to get it. They pulled away. I'd be kind of leery of taking that trade again. So we're not going to count it, but clearly it worked the second time around. And we can't count 568.05, although when they did finally get to it, they pulled away. Why? Because there was a near miss here a couple times. They got up within 10 cents, pulled away. I'm going to consider that the trade. So while these levels were certainly important throughout the day, it's essentially the 2 trades here, short there and a long there, for Friday, May the 2nd. So here's Friday, the 2nd of May, and I went short pretty early on. Right after the market opened, you'll see me go short with a couple contracts, and I went short again with 2 contracts. So I'm short 4 total, waiting for them to come down. So here's what happened. I took 3 off and tried to trail more because I thought they're going to come down farther, at least down to this next level. But they ended up stopping me out, but still pulled quite a bit of points with a net 4 contract position. And that was my one trade on Friday, May the 2nd. So that's where I got stopped out with that trailing stop there. That was it. Good enough for me. One trade in the morning, let this thing go until lunchtime or so, 11:30. So that was Friday. And here are the levels for Monday. That was yesterday, May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo. And you can read through the notes, levels, of course. I'll scroll down to the rest of them. And of course, there's a screenshot of what the market looked like in the morning before the opening bell. So for Monday, 2 levels were hit, 562.74 and 564.74. And we'll look at those right now. So you know the drill. Between the vertical lines is the entire day. This is Monday. And where were the trades? The first trade was a short trade at 562.74. They came up into it here, pulled away. Nice and easy base hit of 4 points or more. And they got above it for a while. Not enough time had elapsed to take this for a recycle trade, at least not the way I like to play it. It worked this time, but we can't count it. And they got to 564.74. Another trade, this time on the short side, almost to the penny. So they went up to 564.74 to the penny. So with or without that buffer, you would have had the trade right there of at least 4 points. They got above this level. They came back down into it. Didn't quite hit the level here. Came up short, not close enough to trigger it. By the time they got back down to 564.74 again, this is the second time, I'm considering that the trade, so I'm not going to take it. Plus, it's kind of getting close to the end of the trading day. They did bounce. That would have given a base hit of 4 points, but we're not going to count it because of the reasons I just explained. This was kind of the trade, and it's getting close to that window of time where we don't take trades within 30 minutes of the closing bell. So here is Monday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. So the market had already opened. It's 9:35, and I started the recording a little bit late, but I didn't take any trades, and I just want to show you that I didn't by virtue of this recording. I think I let it go all day long. I had some meetings in the morning. Thought I'd have time a little bit before 10, but since I couldn't get anything in before 10 o'clock, I just let this thing go. And I did look at the market a few times, considered taking a trade, but it never happened. So this is the recording of the entire day, I think, all the way to 4 o'clock. Yeah. I just let this go while I worked on other things. Then today, Tuesday, I never even started recording of it because I knew I wasn't going to take any trades. Part of my plan for today anyway was to do some video editing on my trading computer. Since I knew I wasn't able to take any trades anyway, there was no recording to watch for today. And for Tuesday, I can just open up the daily levels. This is the subscription service that is available every morning to subscribers. So you can see it's Tuesday, May 6th. This was sent out this morning at 8:50. There's the levels. There's a zone there indicated in the blue levels. And you can read through the notes and a screenshot at the bottom of what the chart looked like and the levels before the opening bell. So for today, these were the 3 levels that were hit. They were coming down into 558.55 after the first 15 minutes. And this proved to be longer term support. But if you went long there and played by the rules, you would have jumped out of this trade at the wrong time. But I'm going to count it this way. So losing 12 points on that fumble, reversing, and then it would have been a wash on that reversal because they continued down, but immediately reversed. I think it was about right here. Missed the profit objective before they found a bottom and bounced back up. And once they got above this level, it became clear that this was just overall support. We had no other levels below this. So for all you knew going into the day, based on the game plan and just a couple other things that we were looking at in the bigger picture, that they could have gone lower. So this level did not work, gave 12 points back, and then got a base hit when they went up to the next level, up here at 560.57, got above it, 20 minutes passed, they bounced, would have had a base hit on the recycle, then went up to 562.57, pretty clear to see that was another trade. And this is not the first time this happened in the last few days. They went up and filled the gap. This is the close of the previous day, left open, and I almost had this level. I considered putting it up here, but it's kind of close. I thought I'd call this whole thing a zone. Kind of wish I did. But just going short with one at one level was good enough for a trade on the short side at 562.57. So the entire day ended up being a wash. But they told you that the level was important by what they did later in the day. In fact, if I open up the 24-hour session and point out to what they did here, market had been closed for a little while, and this is what they did in the post market. They bounced up, they shot up all the way up to here again. These levels continue to be important as I'm making this at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So we're in the month of May now. You can see May 1st through today, the 6th of May, and read through all the notes, see where everything landed and all the metrics and everything. And then on the Sam's trades log, this was the one trade that I took in the last 4 days. And by the way, tomorrow, which is an FOMC day, things could be more or less normal in the market in the morning. But as we get close to 2 p.m. Eastern, generally a good idea to step back and not put money at risk. Let the FOMC news drop and to see what happens to the market. Many times the levels that I've found in the morning do work, but I don't plan to trade. I've got things going on again tomorrow, which is going to preclude me from trading, most likely. We will see how it goes. So that's a wrap for this video. I hope you found it helpful. Thanks for watching. I'll try to get back on track and make a video for tomorrow just so we're kind of caught up so I'm not doing multiple days in a row. I think that's probably more helpful for you guys. And those of you who are subscribing to the levels and the game plan, they will be available when you log in before the opening bell tomorrow morning. I do appreciate those who are following me and have faith in this process, and I hope it works as well for you as it has worked for me. I'll talk to you again soon. Have a great day.